ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
It is Monday, December 2nd. This is your Monday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We're here today at the Union Pub and Grill. I am joined, of course, as I always am on Mondays, by the former Young Thundering Herd quarterback, Dave Walsh. And we got a lot to get into. And before we continue on, I just want to point out to the station, we have echo in our ear. It is driving us crazy. There we go.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you, Gabriel, back in the studio. All right, now we can do the show.
Now we can do it.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, like, turning the volume down, and I just decided, no, sorry, no, I can't text you, Gabriel. We're just going to have to take care of the business of it. Come on, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Man, it's like Monday or something. It's like he's had 4 or 5 days off.
I know.
All right,
Come on.
Let's go ahead and let's pretend we're going to do this all over again. Can you play along with me, Dave?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
You're the man.
All right. I mean, I don't know if Gabriel even wants to fire the show open again. I don't know if he wants to go that far.
Guess not.
Hey, he's not going to. He's not going to. Fine. All right, it's Monday, December 2nd, 2019. Your drive begins again here on ESPN 94.1 FM at AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can join the program by calling the Miller Lite phone lines at 877-420-TALK. That is 877-420-8255. Miller Lite Hold True, great taste, only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. We're broadcasting today from the Union Pub and Grill, 1125 4th Avenue in Huntington. Joining me, as always, as we bring him in Mondays and special occasions, the former Young Thundering Herd quarterback, Dave Walsh. And we got a lot to get into today, Dave. Yeah. Of course, Marshall victorious on Saturday.
Yes,
however,
FAU was as well. So
that means no Conference USA championship this week.
No. There are a lot of disappointed people. That they won, yes, but that Lane Kiffin, Mr. Artist, he did what he had to do. I mean, he taking care of business, he did. He ended up backing into it. He got the break. He took advantage of it.
Well, I would just point out, if you lose to Charlotte and you lose to Middle Tennessee, you don't win the Conference USA championship. That's going to be the first thing
That's the first, and you don't score any points on offense against Charlotte, which at the game time was the worst defense in the league for scoring. And you got 0. Your score was a punt block.
So, first and foremost, Marshall, if they would have backed in, I would have been happy for him. But they would have backed in at that point.
But Lane needed a break, and he got it. But he never expected Charlotte to give it to him, but he'll take it.
So,
and, speaking of that, there's Marshall got beat. They won the game on football. They took a hard loss in soccer last night. And then not a good day to be a football coach at some places because you're unemployed as of now. I mean, I was looking last night and right now they're falling like crazy out there.
Well, we got a couple of coaching
even
changes.
Even in Conference USA, there's some openings.
Well, first and foremost, you've got one resignation and you got one outright firing. And UTSA coach Frank Wilson fired. He's been there 4 seasons. He had a 4-8 season, 41-27 loss to Louisiana Tech on Saturday night, and he finishes with a 19-29 record in 4 seasons.
That's not
going to get it done.
Not going to get it done.
And then you got a guy who had a 10-3 record in 2016.
Yeah.
A guy that took Old Dominion to a bowl, and Bobby Wilder has to resign today.
Yeah, he founded the program basically, and now he's gone.
Well, they've gone 10-26 in the last 3 seasons.
After that, with 10-win season, it's been a hard time to win 10 games total. 1-10 this year didn't get it done.
2-14 against Conference USA the past couple of years. 0-8 this season. And you know what? Also, you have a new stadium. You've got facilities that you're trying to attract recruits with and trying to be competitive. As it was described to me, you get a big boy stadium now, and you don't have people inside your big boy stadium.
I was talking to my brother the other day and reading some things in there, and a lot of empty seats at Old Dominion right now. And they used to have a sellout streak that's unbelievable. Now you can go up game time, sit at the 50-yard line. That's not going to pay the bills.
No. And then, speaking of empty seats, Marshall on Saturday.
There was a lot of those.
A lot of empty seats.
They announced 18 and change, and in press box we were going like, where? Because there was not 1,000 on the other side easily, and then the chairbacks on the press box side were a lot of empty seats there, and so had to be tickets sold. That's all it could be because it wasn't counting in people coming through the turnstiles.
Well, those are the numbers that are always reported. Tickets out, tickets sold, however you want to you say it. It's reported as here's what's out.
Yeah.
There's no turnstile to actually do a physical count
Right.
of how many people are in the facility. It's always tickets out.
Because we sat there and looked at the marshal on this side of the press box and going like, Paulie, there's nobody coming. There's just nobody in the stands. I mean, senior day and you're running out and it's like, where are they?
Okay, can you blame most people, though, for not coming?
No, elements didn't help.
No, the rain was miserable all day long.
Television didn't help. And the fact that there was still hangover from Charlotte. Some people just said, dude, it's over. I mean, you have something to play for. You didn't come through. You let Lane Kiffin back in, so they're going to stay home.
So the Thundering Herd, even though they had something to play for at that point, to at least stay on target.
Yeah, I mean, they did win. I mean,
they did what they had to do. And you had senior day. That's supposedly an important day, right?
17 people run out for the last time.
Okay. And you have possibility of winning, staying in the hunt for an East Division championship.
You do your part. You don't know what's going to happen a couple hours later.
Marshall could have been the East Division champion after it was all said
Could
and done
have been.
today. And the elements, and I think a lot of fan apathy and a lot of other things have just set in.
Yeah.
And Marshall fans didn't show up. Now, for whatever reason, I'm not going to sit back here and chastise fans today.
No.
I'm not. That's not me. Not my job. If you want a big-time program, you show up as a fan. If you want this, if this is what you want for the program, because this is a lot different than pro.
Right.
You pay a lot of money to go to a pro football game, and so if you don't show up, you look at the Bengals.
Yeah.
Just for example here.
Well, they did win yesterday.
Well, they did win. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have been happier. Andy Dalton was back.
Yeah, they put him back on the train.
I
And
was
they did
happy.
It.
I was never, ever this happy to see Andy Dalton on a football field before.
You were yesterday, though.
I missed Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I put it out there
I will
on social
confess
yesterday.
straight up.
Missed him. I missed Andy Dalton.
And Andy did his job. He did his job.
And so a lot of empty seats there.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I know.
But what's the difference between not going to a pro game and not going to a college game?
I don't know,
What's the
'cause
difference
if
here?
the-
Because
The price is a little different.
well,
but
price is a little different, sure, but
Well-
the marketing is maybe a little bit different. Like, this is family. This is your school. Not this, hey, this is your pro team. This is your school. You know, it's different here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got these marketing buzzwords that are everywhere and across the country. Every program does some sort of variation on it just to try to connect you to the program. You feel like, hey, I'm a fan, so that means I've got to be there rain or shine. I've got to be there winning or losing. And if I'm not here and it's raining and I'm not here during the bad times, I'm not a good fan.
Yeah. I mean, you have to dress accordingly for the weather.
Guess what?
Yep.
I'm not going to say any of that stuff.
You know, and then
I'm
now-
not calling any single fan out, and I'm not going to play the I'm a better fan than you card because that's just ridiculous, to be quite honest. If fans didn't want to show up on Saturday for whatever reason, move on.
Yeah.
Come back next week, and if more fans show up, great. Or if there's a specific reason why they're not showing up, address that reason and then go on. But I've really thought it was just insane on social media, Dave. It was herd-on-herd crime on Saturday. Not, hey, Marshall won the game. Let's talk about the win.
No, let's talk about who didn't show up to watch the win.
Yeah, let's talk about last week's loss to Charlotte still. Let's talk about the fact nobody showed up. And it's as if people were embarrassed. Hey, I'm a Herd fan, and look at, okay, that's not a reflection on you. And there were fans, I think, that were actually, again, identity of self-worth here. I mean, basically, if Marshall's doing well, then they have a better feeling about themselves. Mm-hmm. And so if they see some deficiency here with the fans, some of these people whose image of self-worth, again, determined by Marshall's success and what the optics are, just lost their mind. And there was a lot of herd-on-herd crime.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous because of the fact that, you know what, there are several reasons why people didn't show up. Holidays. It's hunting season.
Yes.
And you know what?
Camo was big over the weekend.
That's a big deal for a lot of people.
Yes.
It doesn't matter which team's playing in the state. That's a big deal. So you've got that going on. You've got the economic situation. I mean, look, it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday today. You got a lot of shopping going on. You got people who just have hard times and can't afford to come buy a general season ticket. You got people who maybe aren't season ticket holders and they come depending on if they can, or they look at the weather and go, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and watch it on my TV. It's probably going to be a better experience anyway. You got 1,000 factors why people don't show up. But, yes, it was eye-catching that nobody showed up to see this game.
And the disappointing thing for that part of it is, this Saturday when UAB and FAU play, they're going to have to keep the camera angle low because there's not going to be more than 15,000 people there. They're playing for the championship, and there's nobody. They haven't warmed up to them yet.
And here's a program that also is still trying to, I guess, build that generational attachment.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't something that has been going on for generations and generations and generations of people just going to Marshall games on Saturday, because until the new facility opened up in 1991,
you had to go to Fairfield.
You had to go to Fairfield, and not that many people were going to Fairfield.
No.
Not until those late runs in the Division I AA playoffs where fans started to come out of the woodwork to support this team.
Yeah. But then Saturday seniors come out, and you're going like, that was hard to take for some of them, I'm sure. But the big thing was they got behind late. They got a tie out of it. They went to overtime, made them kick the field goal. They got the touchdown. They got the win. And now we'll sit back to see which bowl they're going to get. I still think I'm going to say on record they're going to play Temple. That's my pick. No MAC. I know you don't care, but I want MAC. I do not want a MAC team. I want Temple.
I want a MAC team. Let's do it. You're going to go to
which one?
You're going to go to an average bowl game. Just give me a MAC team.
How about Marshall Miami again? Could be. They're playing for the championship.
I saw Marshall Liberty was projected one of the games. Give me Liberty. Come on. Just give me Liberty.
You're going to get them later, but why not get them sooner?
Let's do it.
Oh, man. They got to fill up so many spots anyway.
Which bowl? It's not the opponent sometimes. It's the destination.
Yeah.
For some people, it's the destination.
Yeah.
Which school?
Which part of Florida are we going to?
Which school are we playing? Doesn't matter. Where are we going?
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping Tampa in a way. Well, not for me, but there's a lot of people. You hop the Allegiant, fly down in a couple of days, stay down there, they play the game, hop a plane, come home. It's not that bad.
You know what?
It's not cost prohibitive. Do not go to Mexico or New Mexico again.
All right.
That's cost prohibitive.
I'm going to check out Brett McMurphy's bowl.
What's he got us going?
Okay. The First Responders Bowl, it will be Kent State filling in for the Big 12 because they don't have enough teams.
Kent State?
Versus Marshall. First Responders Bowl. That is what Brett McMurphy is projecting.
Kent State.
Yeah.
That's what he's bred.
That's going to sell tickets,
Whoa,
my friends.
baby.
That's going to be must-see TV on national television.
They're going to decline it, but they're going to defer putting that on television. I'm still hoping Temple, but, hey, there's some things out there. And just think, if WU wins more games, if WU had gone 6-6, I could almost bet they would step in and player them up, just like they did in soccer, like they did a couple of times a year ago in basketball. Somehow, some way, they'd find a way to put them together.
I don't think so. I don't think that happens.
Okay.
I think you got to have two to tango.
Okay. But if they had finished 6-6, you think they might have done it?
You got to have two to tango. I don't think they take that bid. NCAA is one thing. They don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
I think you got to have two to tango, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. Would have been nice, but.
I mean, it'd been nice for the Marshall fans. West Virginia fans would have just they would have rolled their eyes, groaned.
Same lines, but their AD might have gone, we're deferring on this one. We're not taking it. Sorry, Coach Brown. You had a heck of a year, but you ain't playing them guys.
New Mexico Bowl. ESPN, one of the projections from ESPN is the New Mexico Bowl. UAB versus Nevada is one of the projections. The other one is Marshall versus Wyoming. And then here's another one. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl is also projected to maybe have Marshall in it by one of the experts. Louisiana versus Marshall.
That could be
okay.
That would be okay because you could get to New Orleans. 3 or 4 days in New Orleans would be a nice experience. New Mexico, it's a long way to go, cost prohibitive. New Orleans is a little different.
I don't think it matters, though.
No.
It just doesn't matter because, let's see, CBS Sports, where they have. This is fun.
Because, most of the payoffs.
This is more fun than the bowls itself because, after all, the bowl projections are more entertaining to me than just the bowls.
Because there's only two that matter: the semis and the finals. That's it.
CBS has Temple versus Marshall in the Frisco Bowl.
There we go.
Let's do it.
Is that Dallas?
That is Dallas, Texas, December 20th. Let's do the
That's
Frisco
the
Bowl. Let's do it.
That's the AAC.
That's a Friday. December 20th is a Friday. Let's do it.
That way it's over and done.
Home for the holidays, kids. Let's do it.
Go.
Dallas, Texas. There you go. That's not a bad destination.
Yeah. Kent State, Marshall, that would be tough.
I would take that matchup.
Yeah, I'm sure Marshall would too, but the people having to sell the tickets for that one, they're going to have to work if that does come about.
There's so many bowls now.
You're
not going to get good matchups.
Right.
That's the problem with the bowl system.
But the one good thing, Charlotte and Buffalo have already been booked. Getting their visas and going to Bahamas.
I'll take
I'm
that.
happy. Hey, for Charlotte, what Brad and Greg helped do, and they cashed in. They're going.
I am happy as well because Marshall's not having to get a passport.
Yeah, I mean, you can stay on the continent, stay on our United States soil.
We are going to take our first break, come back, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We got more on the way. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Paul Swann and Dave Walsh with you on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. You can join the program by calling 877-420-TALK anytime on our Miller Lite phone lines. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste, only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. And, we've been talking a little bit about the Marshall game. It's a sad thing, though. We had talked a little bit more about the crowd. Didn't touch on it really Saturday during our post-game coverage, but today's a perfect day to get into that. The fact that, well, it's just – I don't know how to get Herd fans to show up at the stadium at the same time. With those weather conditions, I'm not going to push anybody in the stadium and say, hey, you got to sit through this and not enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Risk getting pneumonia and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Here, just sit here soaking wet all day for the fact that you're not having a good time here and you're miserable, but, boy, you're a great Herd fan for doing that.
Right.
You're the best.
Yeah.
Not gonna get into that situation. But if you want to go out and brave the elements tonight here, there's maybe a different thing you can do. The soccer team is not going to continue their journey into the NCAA tournament. They lost. They lost 4-1. I watched it yesterday, and Washington's a good team. Washington's a good team.
People got to remember, they were ranked number 1 in the nation at one time.
They look like it.
Yes.
They were a quality team that Marshall faced off against.
Yes.
And I thought Marshall was competitive in that game, but unfortunately, sometimes you run into a better team, and that was the case.
Well, they're ranked number 1, and then when you look at some statistics, 24-4, and then you add 4-1. That's 28-5. It outscored the teams at the Washington Husky Stadium. So, and it looked like the field was tilted because Washington, every time I looked up, they're shooting the ball. Paulo is a busy man, and the guy at the other end's gone to sleep. He only had to make 2 saves, I think.
He played.
And one of those won a PK.
Paulo played.
He did.
He played a great game.
He did.
But they're coming back. They should be at Hoops Family Field about 7:15 tonight, give or take. If you're interested in an actual time they get there, Herd M Soccer on Twitter is probably the best place to find it. But there's going to be a reception. What I mean by that is a lot of people are going to show up and welcome them back.
Yeah, because disappointing end of the season, but what memories they put together. You think back to game 1, they win, and next thing you know, they're winning Conference USA regular season. They win the tournament. They beat Kentucky twice in 1 year. They take down WVU. They get nationally ranked. They're seeded. A lot of good things happened. The only thing is, when you look at it, as Chris Grassi would say, and you're playing all these games without your coach. He got an 8-game suspension. So, but the big thing Chris kept saying is now we have to make this a consistent thing. We can't have a one-year wonder. No, you got to do what Washington does. You got to be there every year. They've gone like 26 times in the NCAA. They won the Pac-10 this year. Now he's going to be the model of consistency.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And here's the somewhere.
He's got it started.
And so you get to this point, Mel. Maybe next year you get a little bit further.
Yeah.
Or you start getting there consistently and you start breaking through. Mm-hmm. You've got the facilities. At the moment, you've got the coach. You're able to bring in some quality players. It wasn't as if you beat a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah,
and you
beat some good people.
You beat a lot of ranked teams. Mm-hmm. You won on the West Coast, beat a lot of good teams. You won your conference, including Kentucky. That's a good soccer program. You beat the MAC champion West Virginia Mountaineers. Mm-hmm. You get into the Sweet 16, and you have to travel to Seattle.
Yeah.
Not making excuses here.
Yeah.
Let's just be happy with what happened so far. And I think a lot of people have realized this is a good run.
Yeah.
Didn't end in a national championship.
No, it did not.
You always hope for a national championship. It didn't end in that.
I'm sure Chris would say the first thing was we're playing to win it all. But, you have your coaches gone.
Of course you are.
But Washington, when you watched it yesterday like I did, you're going like the field was tilted. They were dominating, and that's why they've gone to the tournament like 20-plus times in a row. They have the Pac-12 Player of the Year. They have the Coach of the Year. Marshall had the Coach of the Year. You'd have had to play a perfect game or as close to perfect as possible to take them down because they're that good. They are that good. And when you're ranked number 1 in the nation for 3 times during the season, there's no higher number than that. You're number 1. Everybody's looking down at you. And then next thing you know, you're playing them on their field where they don't lose. So they had a heck of a year. Heck of a year. The work, the body of work, yes.
So remember, if you're wanting to brave the elements tonight for a little while, 7:15, going to be at Hoops Family Field. They're hoping that a good crowd shows up to welcome the team home.
Yeah.
And that's basically they're inviting anybody who wants to come and welcome the team home.
Yeah.
This is about what time it's going to happen tonight at the soccer field.
That's doable.
At the pitch.
It's a little chilly, but it's not, just come on down. I mean, they should get a reward. I'm not happy about losing, but for what they put into place now that they can go forward from. Yes, we got all these things. Now we have to do this and take the next step. We've taken some steps. There's more to be taken. Okay? There's more to be taken. And I'm sure Chris will be the first one. Now, he's going to have to sit a few games next year to serve that I still haven't figured that out. 8 games.
Clerical error.
He'll have to sit 6 games. He'll have to almost sit half the season next year.
Clerical error. Just, NCAA has to make a point. Hey, look.
Yeah.
You're right, and you're not small fry. You're not major. You're right there, that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Majority of schools, you're right in the middle, and let's make an example.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
He's got to sit 6 times next year, but hopefully, after what happened when they played WU a couple weeks ago, maybe those two people can get together and find out. Hey, they are a MAC school. They're still RW, but they're a MAC school. There's no reason they can't play. Sometime at some place. Play them in Charleston. I don't care. Play them.
No, I care. If they're going to play.
That's a game that needs to be scheduled.
If they're going to play home and home.
Yeah.
Not home every, you don't play 2. 1 year go to Morgantown, 1 year come to Huntington.
Yeah.
Play that way.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you don't want to play, that's fine. Marshall's shown, obviously, they can get along without you.
Yeah. Yes.
And I wish more Herd fans would realize that Marshall's doing fine without WVU in anything. Yeah. Don't need them.
Yeah. There's very few sports they play in.
If they don't want to play, that's fine.
Yeah.
I would just move on and play other schools.
Mm-hmm.
And if they cross paths now and then, that's great. I'm not saying be violent. I'm not saying be spiteful. I'm not saying, have the vitriol about it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying if a school doesn't want to play you, move on.
Move on. There's plenty of other games out there. There's plenty of other people out there that will.
Exactly. I mean, they play in baseball.
Yeah.
Because they got a good relationship there.
I think they play volleyball? I think.
They play in soccer very rarely, to the fact that it's been forever since they played.
When they played this year was the first time since, 04?
Yeah.
And that was the NCAA thing.
Now, I'm going to be honest
for them,
with you,
it might not have happened.
Until a few years ago, I wouldn't have scheduled Marshall other than a home visit anyway because of facilities.
Yeah.
Until just a few years ago. If I was a school coming in here, unless I had to come in here, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. That's what
West Virginia included.
Yeah, because they have a facility. They have the reputation, whatever, and they're going their coach was admitting, okay, they got it going now, but until now, what purpose, for lack of a better word, would it have served? If we play them and beat them, great. If we lose to them, we're doomed, and we're just propping them up. But
you
now,
know what? I'm
now
okay
they
with
can
that.
play.
I'm okay with that argument.
Yeah.
Because until just recently, Marshall wasn't of any value to them.
No.
And now Marshall is a competitive soccer program.
Very competitive.
You look at the schedule sometimes. You got to schedule opponents that if you beat them, you're going to get something from it. And if you lose to them, you're not going to get damaged by it.
There are times that Marshall was tied or whatever and gained. When they had a double overtime tie with Charlotte, they went up.
Yeah. So you got to look at schedule-wise.
Right. The old RPI, as they put it, whatever that is.
You know what? If it was RPI, if you could just get rid of the RPI. I'm serious.
Yeah.
You just get rid of the RPI.
When I a few conversations with Chris, as good as the schedule was this year, I think it'll be even equal to or better than next year. Because they want to take steps up, and only by taking steps up, you have to play the people to do it. Play the people to do it.
7:15 tonight over at the Hoops Family
They deserve
Field.
it.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
I think it'll be a great crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Will there be more people there than was at the football game Saturday? That's my big question.
Just think about it. Washington, 1,500 yesterday and change according to the statistics sheet. Marshall's last 2 home games, over 2,000. They outdrew the Pac-12 champion. If you just go on people in the seats, they outdrew the Pac-12 champion.
Here's my next question or challenge. Can you do that consistently now?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Chris will be the first one to tell you that.
Can you do that consistently?
Yeah. We did it this year.
When it's a midweek game.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people tuned in, excited to watch the match on Facebook.
Right.
Pac-12 Plus on Facebook.
I found it.
Good.
But
Dave.
it was there, and it was fun to watch, and you could tell that the better team won. they were a better team than Marshall. Marshall did a lot of good things this year, but they hit a bump in the road. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, sometimes you find a team
how do you respond from the bump in the road?
Yeah, sometimes you find a team that's just a better matchup for or
Washington looked at that bracket and went, "We're through to the final. We're going to go this one and this one." Now they play Georgetown on the road, but their road record's very good too. But they have to travel.
See how well they do on the road.
If that game had gone the other way, they'd have been home to Louisville. If Louisville had won, but Georgetown took care of them.
Well, if that game would have been, if Marshall would have won that game, Louisville would have been in Huntington.
Yeah.
That'd have been a great match.
You're playing a match here to go to the Final Four. Whoa. I mean, Hoops Field would have been – they had to put extra seats in or something.
Not ready yet for that. No. I need to see more consistency. Now,
No.
You know what? That's going to be a talking point for a while.
Yeah.
Do you expand the soccer seating?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Well, Chris,
not just shoehorn them in, just not shoehorn them in like you did at the football stadium.
Yeah.
Actually, keep it in line with this multi-million-dollar facility.
Mm-hmm. Chris will be the first one to admit we have to keep doing what we're doing to enhance that chance of making it happen. If we fall back, then we might be playing in front of 500 or 600 people and it'll be an empty chair. We keep doing what we're doing, it might be the toughest ticket in town.
877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. More on the way. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Never miss a moment of The Drive with Paul Swann. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. To be a part of the Miller Lite phone lines, Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. Only 96 calories, Dave. 96 calories.
That's not bad.
The original light beer. So
yes.
Let us go to the phones and let's start off with Bill. Bill's checking in from Huntington. He is on the drive. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, guys. Y'all must have had some advertisement to catch up on because you had a long commercial break.
I mean, you know what? People want to be on this show. It's the hottest thing going. People want to jump on and just be a part of this thing. I mean, that's how popular we are.
Yeah, I was going to say I was kind of afraid that somebody didn't hit a right button or something like that. That's happened a couple times before. I just wanted to say something about the interest of Marshall football. Do you think it has anything to do with the relatively anemic offenses we've witnessed over most of Doc's 10 years?
This was a question that someone posed to me earlier about it just being boring. And I said, what do you want? Do you want exciting and losing or boring and winning? Now, obviously, everybody wants exciting and winning.
That's a false choice. You
want to be entertained or do you want to see wins? I mean, I want both, to be honest with you. I want wins and I want entertainment.
That's exactly the point. It has to be kind of both. If you're at a G5 school, Boise made its bones over winning and being entertaining. Back now a lifetime ago, Bobby Pruitt and Stan Parrish and George Chomp and Jim Donnan, they made their bones of winning and being entertaining. So, yeah, it should be both.
But was it fun blowing out VMI by 50, Moorhead by 50? Was it fun doing that?
Look at the opponent. It would be fun if you were playing. It would be more fun if you were losing to Cincinnati by 54 to 45 or something like that than losing, basically surrendering. If you take a look at the statistics, Coach Holliday's had 2 years when he's been in the upper half of the offensive stats in the NCAAs, and that was in 2013 and 2014, where he caught some fire, had a remarkably good college quarterback, remarkably good slot receiver. Since then, it's I can't say Litton was without talent. I can't say that Isaiah Green's without talent, but Marshall struggles to move the ball at times against the worst competition. It's one of those things. Coach Holliday wants to play field position. That's fine, and it may put you in a position to win at the end, but it also puts you in a position to lose at the end to the inferior competition. And I think the offense has some to do with loss of interest in attending games or even watching on TV.
Well, I know the weather was a factor. I'm not going to deny.
Oh
that.
yeah, well, I'm not talking
for that particular game. And you look at overall attendance, though, it's still best in Conference USA. Ryder is right up there.
Right up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's about third. It's about third in the conference. But I agree with you. This past Saturday, you're not going to do anything about that. And the last time those guys came to town too, it was a monsoon. Was even worse. If you remember, I guess it was a year before last when Florida International coach shows up. It's a driving range that just cold. It was literally a 45-degree angle that the rain was hitting the ground. But it's not just this past Saturday. It's one of those things. I think in terms of drawing eyeballs, you have to engage the audience. You're trying to engage the audience. I think you do have to be entertaining.
Yeah.
And
what is a business? I mean, at the end of the day, you're right. It has to be entertaining. It is a business. And I don't know how you change that. How do you just wave your magic hand and say, okay, now be an exciting offense? I mean, you got what you got. And so if you got a guy like Brendan Knox you can hand the ball to 33 times, you can win the game. I'm good with that. But, for some Herd fans, they like to see it air out because they still remember Randy Moss and Chad Pennington and that air attack, that explosive offense. And I get that.
Or Tony Peterson and Sean Doctor.
Well, you're going to ways back. I remember those days, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking.
And by the way, I sat in a frozen tundra of a game to watch them in the playoffs, back in Fairfield days. So I get it. I understand. It was entertaining.
I saw them. Yeah, I saw them play, and that year they kind of got hosed out of winning whenever they went out to Idaho. But I mean, I was there at that game too. But I mean, I don't know exactly how to put this. There's no quarterback coach, I don't think dedicated to coaching quarterbacks. And the last two quarterbacks have emailed short passes. Isaiah this year has shown nice touch on, long and medium passes at times. But, it's just, I'm just really frustrated.
You're not the only one.
Not speaking for myself. That's right.
The last two games, if I'm not mistaken, statistically speaking, they have less than 100 yards passing. They lost one to Charlotte. They won the one Saturday with under 100 yards passing. And you mentioned it, when you go in the last few years, 100 yards passing is usually got by the first quarter, traditionally speaking. And now I personally think you've got to open it up. I'm not sure who the wide receivers were. Obi had the one good game this year, but other than that, right there, and they had to throw to Armani and Xavier Gaines, and they did find him for the touchdown.
Yeah.
But you've got to open things up. You've got to spread the field. Miami, the FIU quarterback had 250 yards passing the other day. Never threw the ball long down the middle.
You being an ex-quarterback knows more football than me, but I think some of that's actually on the players.
Right.
And there's an awful lot of times where receivers end up within, 6 yards of each other. And the way football works today is that, they're supposed to read the coverages with the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And, for whatever reason, I don't think our receivers necessarily read the coverages correctly.
No, I just think I personally think you have to run stuff where you're stretching people deep, open things up.
Oh, yeah.
When you go vertical, as they would say. I remember last year, the last game at the bowl, I had a little chart, and they went vertical 12 times, and they had an unbelievable stat. Running sideways doesn't get you anywhere. You have to go vertical, extend, and then Brendan Knox. You handed the ball to him 30 times, get him involved in the passing game. The NFL does it. Other colleges do it.
Receiver.
There's got a way to get the ball in his hands other than the handoff.
Yeah, he's not a bad receiver, and I agree with you. You have to knock the top off the coverage. You also have to make them defend the sidelines.
Right.
And I think part of the problems this year, to be fair about it, is all the injuries to the wide receiver core.
Yeah. And Obi was gone all year almost.
Yeah, and with X, I don't know how good of a route runner he is. He's got the physical gifts, but that's one of those things. It seems to me like they should have been able to spring him loose downfield more often. And then at the beginning of the year, we had a bunch of drops too. There's no doubt about that. But still, we don't run a wide open offense anymore. No. We haven't really since 2014.
Right. I keep hoping week after week I'm going to give Brendan Knox the touches, but there's a lot of ways you can give him the touches other than just turning and handing him the ball. You can put him out. There's not a linebacker that's going to cover him. It's not going to happen if you can isolate him. Not going to happen.
Well, yeah, there's not many defensive backs want to tackle him one-on-one.
No.
Get him
the one-on-one, how many times the old YAC, yards after catch? That's a big statistic. How many yards you get after you catch the football?
Yep. So,
anyway, I'm going to finish this thought with one point here. You remember November 16th, 1991? Do you remember that date?
Oh, Lordy. No, not for sure, but if you tell me the event, I might be able to remember.
You know why I remember it? Because it was Marshall versus VMI. I was a student at Marshall. They destroyed VMI 61-0, and I was the only one left in the student section wearing a rain poncho because it was pouring down just as bad. Yeah. And so I've sat through that. It was miserable. And what I got a 61-0 blowout in an empty football stadium during one of Marshall's best football teams ever.
Well, there you go. And then I guess you had everybody question your sanity and your instructors at Marshall asking how they passed you through your classes, too.
Exactly. Trust me. So I understand what people are going through. Maybe they remember that game and no, we're not sitting through another one of these.
Well, the fact, did you tattoo that date on your wrist or something like that?
Should.
I mean, that's amazing.
I should. Because every time I see a downpour like that, I'm thinking, I've sat through those.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm in the press box now, so I have no reason to complain about anybody ever because I'm sitting comfortable. I have no grounds. I have no grounds. None.
All right, gentlemen, I enjoyed it.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
We'll be here. We're going to take a quick time out, come back. We're going to wrap it up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're wrapping up here at the Union Pub and Grill. It is Monday, December 2nd. Paul Swann and Dave Walsh.
I would say Sunday we'll find out because it's just noticed on TV the selection shows at noon. So Marshall later on Sunday will probably know where they're going. As they start to trickle down, we'll find out. I'm still pulling for Temple. I don't know who you got, but I'm pulling for Temple.
Look, I want someone in the MAC.
Okay.
Just give me a MAC school.
Okay.
I want to solidify my love for the Bulls.
Okay.
Just come on.
And then the other question, by Sunday with all these jobs coming open, when Lane Kiffin is scheduled to be here next year, when FAU comes in, will Lane be here or not? A lot of jobs coming open. His name's going to get mentioned. We'll see what happens.
I think he's got to do some more.
Okay. I'll agree. But I think right now he likes being anonymous, winning and being anonymous.
Look, you're in Florida right now.
Yeah.
You're building a program.
He has a chance to win it 2 out of 3.
What is there stopping FAU from becoming the next UCF?
Right. Exactly. He goes and win. He could win conference chase 2 out of 3 years. He don't win a 5 and 7 like he did the year after he went the first time. But if he won 2 out of 3, the people that brought him in, it's looking pretty good. He'll be off the hot seat and he'll be ready to roll. He might be a hot property to set up on the hot seat.
I think he's going to stay for a little while.
Okay.
Build something there because you could really turn FAU. You've got potential. FAU's got potential.
Yeah. Because right now South Florida's is not that strong.
FIU just beat Miami.
Right. UCF just has had the halo knocking off. So why not you be the kingpin of Florida? Why not be the kingpin? As you say, he'll stay there and still be anonymous when he goes to the store.
Go undefeated with that school. Maybe you get a shot at an Access Bowl,
you never
New
know.
Year's Six Bowl. I mean, you've got some options there. Yeah. And you could win some games there if you're consistent. If you keep winning championships. Because look at it this way. He's in the championship game.
Again?
What, twice now out of 3?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could win it twice out of 3.
At home.
At home, 2 out of 3. That's doing all right.
That's making the fans happy and the people that hired him look good too.
I'd say you're right at FAU.
Okay.
I mean, unless what job is that much more attractive? What situation?
No. He's sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at the situation. I think it's more situation dependent than a few extra $1,000.
Yeah.
$1 million maybe. I mean, it's not like Alabama is opening up.
He could be right now in a situation like I said with Calipari at Memphis. He could get to the point he could be the top dog in this league. His toughest games are the non-leaguers. Once he gets to the league, he rolls right on through.
Who's to say the non-leaguers won't be tough much longer?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. That's going to do it for this edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. For Dave Walsh and Gabriel Sellers, I'm Paul Swann. Good night, everyone.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.